Let this rock for a bit. Another one of Ty's themes. All right. Hello. Welcome everybody out there to another episode of All Knicked Up. Do not adjust your screen. This is a Knicks podcast, even though I'm wearing my New York Yankees hat. Of course, with the Yankees in the World Series, they take a little bit of precedence over the Knicks right now. And after last night's game where I thought they were going to get swept and they wound up finding some offense and coming through, maybe I'm feeling a little bit. I don't know, but I'm going to definitely be supporting the Yankees tonight. So let me bring in the other two guys. One I know is a Yankee fan. What's up, Ty? And I don't know if Joe even cares about baseball, but hello, Joe, as well.
Go New York in any event.
All right. So very quickly before we get into the Knicks, Ty, what did you think about last night's game at the stadium, man? What'd you think?
You know, I tune into baseball bits and pieces because I'm more of a score watcher.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they brought out Fat Joe, who was a fat, unlucky charm, I guess, because they didn't win that game, obviously. He leaned back all you want. However, last night when I was looking, it's a funny thing. I was laughing before I got on. There's this thing with Aaron Judge. It's a meme. I know nobody could probably see it. Hold on. It's one of the funniest memes, and it's definitely guy talk. No, does it show up anywhere? Probably not. I don't think it could. Well, the meme is Aaron Judge. They're showing a picture of Aaron Judge, and it goes, "My boys, double colon. I saw you took her home. Did you hit it?" And then there's a picture of Aaron Judge. That's all I got to tell you. I thought it was hilarious because that's really summed up Aaron Judge right now. He's just been absent. He's been an absentee student. We know Soho's been great. And, he's obviously the king of New York if they do come and be able to pull this out. But I was very shocked to see, like, most of the guys who, basically killed it were not big name people. So, it was just good to see that it is a team game. We know it's one of the more ultimate team games. It really comes down to pitching. Hitting is whatever. But, it was nice to see that I saw the score keep running up and up and up. And I'm like, 11. I was like, well, they kind of made up for all the home runs they didn't hit for the rest of the series that it's been. But It was a good showing. Hopefully they can pull off another one to at least, like, make it less ugly.
Yeah. I'm kind of at the point. Yeah, I'm kind of at the point now. Like, I just don't want to lose in the Bronx. So if they win tonight, they'll accomplish that. And then whatever happens in LA, man, the Dodgers have just been fantastic. Nothing bad I could say about them. Ohtani's not even the one that's doing it. It's everyone else. Freddie Freeman. I mean, he's been amazing. But last night we got Anthony Volpe's one of their younger players, and he had his first true New York Yankee moment. He's a New Jersey kid. Grew up watching the Yankees. They kept showing the picture of him at the 2009 parade. Yeah. So that had to be an awesome moment for him. So yeah, man, I am really looking forward to tonight's game. Again, at this point, I don't have any expectations. I'm not expecting anything to happen, but Cole's on the mound and we will see what happens from there. Yeah. But this is not a Yankees show, so I won't talk any more about the Yankees. Hold on.
I have a question on baseball.
Sure.
Okay, so sometimes they take the baseball and they throw it, and then people catch it. But other times they throw it and they hit it with a piece of wood, and I've always found like the difference between those two things confusing.
You just think you're not a baseball fan. I'm going to gather.
I don't.
So I have a hard time following it. I mean, like, what's the goal of it?
It's the same as any other sport. The goal is to score more than your opponent. That's essentially the goal of baseball. Yeah, it's weird how baseball seems to be for a certain generation the sport, and then as time goes on, it's kind of lost that impact. So I don't know if I would be as big a fan of baseball if it wasn't for my father. My father was a huge Yankee fan, and he loved the game itself. So that was instilled in me, and I'm still a huge fan. It's not my favorite sport, but it's still a sport that I enjoy watching. I played it as a kid, so I still enjoy watching baseball, especially in the playoffs. The playoffs, everything's magnified. Every pitch is important. So it's a much different vibe. But yeah, it is a slog to watch the games during the season. Sometimes I can't do it.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and say I can. So.
Let me be forthcoming, Joe, and tell you that the stick and the ball thing. It's kind of how I feel watching it most of the time because it's once again, much like Eric said, it was an inherited thing for me. My father was a huge Yankee fan, so you'd catch him watching the little TV. He had more, rest in peace. He had more of a peaceful mind and a patient person. Something his son did not inherit when watching sports. I definitely love basketball because of the up and down excitement. The microwave action. Basically, it's instant. It's intense. It's 48 minutes, and then it's over with, and I can go and do other stuff. Whereas baseball,
it can be. It definitely can be a slog at times.
I probably qualify as a Met fan, being that I lived in Queens, but regular season baseball, honestly, that's really for the radio. Kind of listening to the game on the radio is a lot better, I think, than watching it on TV while you're doing something else. So I'm really kind of tongue-in-cheek with the whole baseball thing, but I'm not a big fan.
Honestly. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's fine.
I'm a Yankee fan. I'm not a baseball fan. I tell people that all the time. I'm a Yankee fan because of my pops. So, and obviously, I showed you guys the Jeter picture. Shout out Derek Jeter. It was a surreal moment for me meeting him. But more so for anything else, I would not watch. I don't watch. I used to like the Atlanta Braves a little bit when those years where they were going back to the World Series, and they had like a kind of like I don't know, it was an up and down vibe. Like you didn't know, you hung onto the edge of your seat. They had timely hitting. Those things kind of drive me to watch baseball a little bit more. But when it's just the yawn factory of 9 innings of that stuff, oh hell no! I'd rather sew a shirt.
Yeah, again, I get it. I think that's a problem with for the game as a whole. They've tried to address certain things with adding the pitch clock and trying to make the game faster. Some of the moves I've liked, some of them I haven't, but it is still, again, it's still considered America's pastime. It's still the sport that most people associate with our country. Yeah. So, and again, the playoffs to me there's so much drama. It's very much like a soap opera a lot of times in the playoffs when it comes to baseball. So it's a male soap opera, and I think that's one of the reasons why people are drawn to it. But we're here to talk about the Knicks, and they also have a game tonight. They are playing the Heat, 7:30 p.m. MSG. On MSG, it's not nationally televised. I was kind of surprised that it wasn't. But it's not on national TV. Probably because the Heat, maybe they didn't think the Heat were going to be that good this year. I don't know. But right now they are 2-1. We are 1-2. So I guess early season, what have you guys seen so far from the team that have been alarming to you? That's been surprising to you? That's been something you didn't expect? Run with it. Go ahead.
Well, I don't think I'm surprised that we're not firing in all cylinders. I came in kind of expecting that with the amount of change that's happened. I know in the first game, I was really worried about Mikal Bridges watching him play. That has since kind of tempered a little bit. I think the bench production outside of Miles McBride has been a little bit of a concern. But again, a lot of new players in that rotation. I think it's just I haven't been looking at it too critically because I'm just happy to be watching basketball, like real basketball. And it's also been like a murderer's rows of like our grudges, or teams that we've battled against. I mean, it's been a great lineup to start the series. I mean, you're talking about Boston, you're talking about Indiana, you're talking about Cleveland, now you're talking about Miami. I mean, those are great reasons to tune in and check out the game. These are kind of measuring stick games, and maybe it's the wrong time to really measure this team and how successful it is. I know we're all aligned with that as far as let's give it 25 games before we really jumped into conclusions. Hey, Coach, what's up, man? But again, I wouldn't say there's anything that's been overly concerning or I've noticed that I felt is significantly out of place or out of whack. I just think this team is growing into themselves. I think that they have to kind of figure out how to really keep a focus offensively on Karl Anthony Towns and make sure that he's involved, because he's not exactly the most assertive person, I think, offensively. So overall, I think it's just been enjoyable watching the games.
So Coach also brings up another player. He put a comment here. I didn't post it up yet, but we did see Ariel Hukporti the other night get the first, or maybe not the first, but he was the choice in the second half of playing, and he did have a dunk that got called for an offensive foul, and it was an offensive foul. People are like, "Oh, no, it was." He did push his arm out, so that's the call. I'm not going to sit here and say it wasn't, but I feel like already he's like fringing on the Earl Barron territory of fan love. It's
Barron
very early in the season.
Huh? Wow. Barron of Broadway.
Yeah, so like I feel like people have already, and this is probably my biggest takeaway from the season so far. Knicks fans are freaking out. Like literally, they're freaking out that we're 1-2. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, we're 1-2, like it's 3 games. What are you freaking out about? They're not, the only game they got destroyed in was the Boston game. And let's be honest, they didn't play great defense, but Boston shot ridiculously well that night. I mean, I don't think the Knicks shot over 50-something% and they lost. But yeah. They shot over 50-something% that game and they still lost. So I mean, by a lot. It wasn't close. So I think that's probably my biggest takeaway so far, is that the fans are so invested in this season already that any little rough patch, they're freaking out. And I don't know, this is new to me. Just because the Knicks have been so bad for so long. So now that there's expectations, like any kind of loss, and everyone just loses their mind. Ty, what about you? What have you seen so far, whether it be fan base or on the court, that you'd like to, address?
Well, I think it's a couple ways. I mean, did you guys hear about the Ant-Man quote about when the Knicks fans were saying, come to the Garden? And, we knew about the whole thing. He said he wanted to play with Cat. That was caught on the hot mic. The part that is now being re-entered into the fray is him saying, I'm not coming here. Do I have one bad game and you boo me for 82 games, is what he said. Welcome to New York. This is why a lot of guys do not come here, for that simple reason that fans' expectations, and especially now when we're entering into what is to believe a good championship window. The Knicks are one of the teams. Betting odds, even in Vegas, have us third. The Knicks are very, one of those teams. We're one of the teams now. So the expectations are going to be absolutely absurd. My first warning shot was, I said, it's going to start off a little rough. Make fans be prepped. It's going to start off a little rough. And they're probably like, the hell with you, Ty. We're going to win every game. We're going to be juggernaut from Marvel. We're just going to run through everybody, and it won't even be close. And I'm like, pump the brakes, because this is what basketball is about. It's about finding the right chemistry. What they are failing to understand is why things worked last year, seemingly like there was no big issue, is the fact you had 3 guys on the team who played together in college. Let's not poo-poo at that, because when you look at Dante and Brunson, and you look at Hart, all of these guys were part of a unit prior to coming to the Knicks. They probably hoop in the offseason together. They've hooped in the offseason most of their adult life. So, of course, there's less of a learning curve when you got guys you're familiar with. It's like someone new coming on this podcast and trying to join the 3 of us who've been doing it for a couple of years now. And all of a sudden they're like, well, where do I fit in? I'm trying to find the chemistry. Yeah, because we've been here longer. So obviously we're going to know how to feed a little bit off on the conversation. The same applies to a basketball game or any group setting or group event where you have to basically coordinate people. A little bit the concern, and Coach brought it up about, I think it was about involving Cat more. If there's one little bit of concern for me, not that I didn't believe it would be a little up and down. I think we'll probably be about around 500, maybe below 500 in these next several games to start out. So 5-5 at some point. That would be my prediction on what will happen. The thing that I want to look at, though, is see how Brunson works with this because all of this falls on Jalen Brunson at the end of the day. Jalen Brunson can get his own shot. Jalen Brunson is a fabulous player. We know he's a dynamic talent. He's probably one of the top 5 players in the league from according to what the MVP voting had last season. We're bringing him into now where Jalen Brunson has to say, I'm not that guy right now. I need to be a point guard version of that guy, which means that you now have to involve other players. For me, the easiest guy you involve, much like Coach said, is Cat. He is the one guy when you dump the ball down to him or you run a pick and roll for him, he's going to probably get about 60% of his shots made. That's how talented he is. What you want to do, if you're an opponent, you want him shooting the threes and staying on the perimeter, although he shoots 40% from those areas. 40 and 60 is 2 damn different numbers. Let's just keep it a buck. So what he needs to do is involve Cat in a pick and roll. Now, we say that to say, I don't think I've seen a pick and roll. Now, we might have seen a butter roll. We might have seen a cinnamon roll, but we have not seen any pick nor damn roll in Tom Thibodeau's offense in the longest time. In fact, let's go further back than Tom.
We saw it in game 2.
In any Knick coach in the last, Mike D'Antonio didn't even run a pick and roll. What the hell is wrong with the Afro pick and roll in New York City right now? This has never been a staple. Like it's some archaic way of playing when it's like, this is ideal. When you got Brunson and you traded for a Cat, that's a pick and pop, a pick and roll, that's a low post, that's a double, that's a kick out. We can talk about Brunson. Granted, he has the ball in his hand, but Tom Thibodeau has been a player make the decision kind of offense coach, a read and react. And obviously what we saw against, who was the last opponent? It was Cleveland. It was Brunson over dribbling into the paint, getting lost because of the length, because he didn't trust the people that are on the perimeter and where everybody was at. And he fumbled. I mean, let's keep it a buck. I love Brunson, but we're going to just judge people how they are.
It's the expectations that come with the crown.
Yeah. So and I think he'll figure it out. That's the panic. Knicks fans are going to be all up in craziness about it. I think he will. But what you are seeing now is a guy who's so used to having to take over games that he forgot he has this big dude that he has to get involved at some point in the offense together to be that dynamic tandem. That's what they were brought here for, to be a tandem, not to be a solo act. You know, we're right now watching Michael Jackson lead the Jacksons, and Tito's like, hey, wait. The recipe is Tito. Everybody jokes about Tito, but Tito was not there. You know, you got to put Tito, Randy, and everybody into this starting 5 because the offense is potent when you involve everyone. And everyone in that 5 can score. It's not one scorer. And I think they're also giving the ball to OG a little too much. That's just my opinion. He was not put here to be the guy. And that's what I think the contract is like. Give him the ball because he can score. Let's prove he can score.
It's to see him offensively assertive, though.
He is, but I think he's they're going to him. He's calling his own number a little too much. When I think collectively, he should be a product of Cat or either a product of Brunson.
I think when you have a naturally passive player, though, you want him to break out of that. He has been historically a naturally passive player offensively.
I agree.
But not when he shouldn't be a featured player on the team. And that's my take on an OG. I want him more involved. Yes. You want him to hit 3-point shots. I don't mind if he's taking shots when they're open, but I don't need him dribbling the ball, trying to create shots for himself.
Yeah.
That's not something I need from him. I don't think, and I think you're right. I think a lot of it is he's trying to justify the contract. He knows he's the highest paid, well, now second with Cat, but he knows he's just got that huge contract and the Knicks paid him. It wasn't via trade. They paid him that money.
But it's also a weakness in his game, even more than justifying the contract. I mean, players are working on weaknesses in their game all the time. I'm sure it's not lost on the fact that there are many games that he's going by with 4 shots, playing 36 minutes.
Yeah, and that was something that he had complained about in Toronto, that he wanted to be more involved offensively. That is something he said, something we know about. I don't have a problem with him taking more shots. I just have a problem with him being – I don't think he's a guy you can feature.
No.
And that's kind of where I'm at with it. I think Bridges has been getting a lot of touches in the post, which I'm surprised at as well. I know he has a game down there, but to me, those should be going to Towns. Like they're playing through certain things right now and trying to figure it out because they do have a lot of new faces that they have to incorporate.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, and Brunson taking the responsibility for that, saying, yeah, it's on me. I need to do a better job of that. That's great. Leadership, and I love that. It's great to say those things. And again, it's only been 3 games, so I'm not freaking out. Mm-hmm. But Ty's right. Last game, he was very much trying to do everything on his own. Yeah. Very much trying to take over the game. And he didn't have it. Like, that's the other thing. He wasn't shooting well to start the game, and he kept shooting anyway. And that's whatever. But that's the time where he has to realize and say, okay, I don't have it going tonight. Let me get Cat involved. Let me, let's get some driving kicks to the shooters. And they're figuring it out. They're figuring this out. They're kind of rolling through it, trying to figure out how to work. The fact that they only play 5 preseason games now doesn't give them a lot of time to work through those things. But I think we're going to see as time goes on, they'll get this right. And that's why I'm not super concerned at the point. Yeah, at this point.
I think the other thing too is Tom Thibodeau. I mean, we know he's not creative on offense. There were just some lineups he threw out there that last game, and I'm sitting here like, who the hell would put those? I wouldn't put them in a tinfoil box together and put them on a barbecue grill, let alone on a damn basketball court. It's like some of those things just didn't make any sense. Like, I thought the thing was pretty crazy, and I love Josh Hart, and I'm glad we see a Josh Hart sighting. I love his aggressiveness and all that he brings, but it was just a little bit I don't know. You got Josh kind of issue. He's instigating the offense again. It's like with campaign at some point. I'm like, well, no, you wouldn't put those two things in the same jar. It's like, and I know it looks like Tom is trying to figure it out too, as well as the players. And to me, I think basketball always has to be simplified. Your best player is your best player. Those 2 guys who are your best players, that's who your offense. You need to work that out. You work that out, and the rest of everything falls into place. You got 2 guys that can commit to making 30 points a game in a game. They can get you 60. But now you got to find the other 80, other 40 or 50 points from your bench and the other starters. And those should be all kickouts right now. OG shouldn't have to come off the dribble. You wait in the damn corner. You sit in the corner with baby, like you dirty dancing. You're in the corner with baby. Sit in the corner and wait for the damn kick out on the ball, because that's what he should be. And then if he's in the second unit, feature him then. But you have to get this cohesiveness, because OG put him in the second unit. Feature him with one of the other ones and make him the main scorer. It's not like he can't do that. But I don't think he needs to be the featured or the person you got to get going first. You need to get Karl-Anthony Towns going first, because that's your easiest bucket getter, period.
Well, I think I see this a little bit differently from the both of you here. I agree, Cat has to get moving and everything like that. But I think when I think of this offense operating at its most efficient, I'm looking at kind of an everybody eats kind of area. I do not see us being as successful with 2 players getting the majority of our shots and the majority of the offense going through. I really think that it's more effective and probably harder to defend when you have the wings as Bridges and Anunoby as active participants in the offense. I felt in the beginning of this season that if the Knicks were going to be successful, Brunson was not going to put up the numbers that he put up last year. Mm-hmm. He was going to draw the defense. The threat of him and how good he is near the basket would collapse the defense and open up the rest of the offense. So I do agree with you guys that Cat has to get more involved, and not just as somebody circling on the perimeter like a planet, like I mentioned before. I do think we have to get him the ball at different levels. But I don't know. I really feel like the wings have to be a very involved part of this offense. It's harder to defend.
I agree with you on that. I think it should be involved too. But I'm sorry, go on.
No, I'm not saying they shouldn't be involved. I just don't think they should be featured parts of the offense. That's where I have a problem with what we've seen so far. And again, it's going to evolve. There's going to be games they might need to be, and I'm firmly okay with that. But you just made a huge trade for two guys, right? Bridges, a lot of picks. They got him here. I have no problem. Like I said, the post-up game, I didn't really know much about, but he definitely is pretty good down there. So I have no problem with him getting those opportunities. And I mean, Towns, talent-wise, I've said this before, talent-wise, he's their best player. He has of all the skills you look at with one player, he's the best player on the team. Brunson is their best player. I will say that. I'm not even arguing that. But Towns is the most talented guy. And the problem with him is he's a big man. And you have to get him the ball. He's not the guy you're going to give the ball and he's going to bring it up himself. And that falls on Brunson. And I agree with you, Joe. I don't think he can be the scorer he was last year for this team to be successful. I think he needs to get his assists from he was about 6, I think, last year, up to about 8. I think that's probably a better use of him and what he's going to do. And he's, like we said, they got to figure this out. But Ty, you brought up the pick and roll. I thought that's what we were going to see exclusively when they made this trade. Like, I'm like, oh, we have a pick and roll guy now. And we've barely seen it. We saw some of it. We've seen it in bits and pieces. Right? But so like it's really frustrating when you're like, all right, this is supposed to, and maybe what the defense is doing, again, I'm not playing, maybe what the defense is doing is taking that away. I don't know. Maybe they're looking for it. So they're
it's a hard thing for a defense to take away if it's running.
It is. You're right. It is. If it's executed correctly, it's one of the oldest plays in basketball.
You're not running it.
Yeah. So I don't know. And maybe we're all just, like I said, maybe we're all just overreacting right now. Maybe Tibbs is saying like, hey, we're going to try this tonight. And that's what they're doing. And they're going out, they're trying it and seeing what
let's pull it out and see what we're going to do tonight.
I brought up Huck Porty, right? Like we didn't expect him to play those minutes, but there it was. He was out there playing minutes. So
I love it when you do the Tibbs voice.
You know what bothered me? I'm going to tell you there's a couple things when we talk about like Carl Anthony. We were talking off camera for everybody's listening. We were talking about Jokic and Carl Anthony Towns. And I always said the thing is with Carl Anthony Towns, Eric said, you know, obviously I give Jokic the credit. Jokic is a bad dude. That's one of my favorites to watch. And I still think he's probably the best player in the NBA. Just going to keep it where it is. But we talked about Carl Anthony Towns, and I said, well, if he was wired differently, like a Jokic, he would be Jokic, to be very honest. He is just that talented. Part of what it is being that he's that talented is that he's capable of doing so many things on the floor because he can do it. He can pull it off. And with that being said, because he's talented, don't mean that he should be doing it. Like there's a couple of plays, and when you recall back, his offensive fouls was because he was isolating. He was isolating, taking his man off the dribble. Yeah, we know you can do it. We know you're capable. You actually did. You took him off the dribble. You just chicken winged 2 guys. You know, you ordered a couple, a 2-piece. You chicken winged the guy twice, and you got an offensive foul. But should we need you to do that? Do we need you to be an ISO player? No. We don't need you. We don't need you to. We don't need you to be an ISO dude. We need you to be a low block bully. That's all we need you to do.
I definitely want him to. Yeah, I want him to take advantage of his opportunities. If he can beat a guy, yes, like I have no problem doing that. But what I don't like seeing is when that's the actual call that they're doing. That's the problem I have. And again, they're probably still figuring all this stuff out. Thibodeau should know how he is, but he's better. He's rounded out his game more from when the first time he coached him. So there's more to his game now. But the coach should have some idea on what he's capable of because he's coached them before. So, I mean, this is one of those times where, you have the pig-headed coach, the hard-headed coach, right, going up against, knowing what he wants to do and doing what he actually should do. And that's kind of the struggle with him as our head coach. But I just want there should never be a game where he doesn't get at least 12 to 15 shots, in my opinion. That should be the range.
I'm going 15 flat out.
Yeah, right?
15 flat out.
So that's where I'm at. He should be getting those shots, and they should be making sure he's getting those shots. Whether it's Brunson, whether it's McBride, whether it's Campaign, who I want to talk about too, because that guy's driving me crazy. So Yeah, that dude is literally, and I'm not talking about Trump and Kamala. I'm talking about Cameron Payne. Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
With his ugly jump shot.
Good Lord, this dude, who the hell? He thinks he's like
he's green.
Yes, this dude just comes in the game and just starts shooting the ball every time he gets it. I don't know what they told him, but I am not.
Nobody told
him.
The assistant coaches are all like, shoot it.
Yeah, someone's telling him something because he should know he is not that good.
He's taking
so many shots.
Nobody said future campaign. Nobody said campaign on a campaign. Nobody on a damn campaign.
Oh man, this dude, I don't know. And again, he's a veteran. He's accomplished some stuff in the league. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but
played well against the playoffs last year.
Yeah, and I know like the second unit now is looking for other guys who can score. I get that part. Like I'm fully aware of this. But I mean, I want his shot. I want McBride taking his shots. Like that's kind of where I'm at right now. Yeah, like I'm kind of there with him. But what do you? I mean, obviously we were all talking about this. And I brought this up on the last show, and I brought this up in our chats too. Wouldn't you rather see Kolek getting his minutes?
Absolutely,
definitely,
absolutely. Can I just jump on this? That's the thing. When you're coming in as a point guard or the guard, first guard, third guard off the bench or whatever, you need a change of pace guard. When you're coming in, you're bringing him in for Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is wired to be a scorer. I mean, we know he's not a point guard per se. He gets maybe 6 assists a game. Be a little painful probably when he does get them. It's not like it's like with fluidity and with grace. They become a product of him maybe giving the ball up at the right time and somebody gets an open shot. It's not a product of his skill set where he just can see the floor. He's not Chris Paul. We already know that. You know, he's more like Cliff Paul when it comes to the point guard position. Jalen Brunson is. With that being said, when he comes out of the game, you're supposed to bring in a guard not like him. Someone can offer another talent that can help out the team concept. Bringing in campaign is bringing in probably the Dollar Tree version, but it's actually on the 50-cent shelf in Dollar Tree of Jalen Brunson. Yeah, dude, we know you can hit a couple of deadly shots in the playoffs, you know, and you surprise some teams or whatever. But to look and hunt your damn shot, like you are, he's duck hunt. You know, I told you that the dog holding up the 2 ducks. That's campaign. He's like, look, I just shot him. I shot him. Yeah, well, dude, we didn't ask you to go shoot him. The Nintendo's been played out. We don't want you with a gun at all. We want you to sit your ass down and learn how to actually run an offense. When we need points, maybe you come in. But the guy that should be coming in, as we all know, is my man Bateman. You bring in Kolek, who can actually help a guy like OG, a guy like Bridges. When you put him into the fluidity of the offense, he's going to defer the ball to the right guys that need to score. And if you sag off of him, he's a dagger shooter. Why bring in campaign? That dude was locked and loaded ever since we've gotten him. And he is just, you're not that. Now, McBride, I'm with E on that. Give him every damn shot he needs because he's just been lights the frig out. That's all I can say. I'm almost cursed. He's been lights the frig out because he's been that dang on good. But campaign is like the anti-Deuce McBride right now. Won't play defense, shooting up bad shots, not making them. Look, Tom, this is a Tom move with the vet. This
is bigger than just campaign, as far as I'm concerned right now. I mean, if you look at the bench right now, there's nobody other than McBride that's playing off the bench right now that has convinced me that they deserve time over than Dadier, Kolek, and Hakporti. I always mess up his name. But I haven't seen anything on the bench that's coming off right now and is in the rotation that makes me believe that they should be playing in front of these players. So again, you know, I don't know whether it's that Tibbs bias, but again, it is 3 games. But the bench, I don't know. One of the first things you hear from Tibbs around media day is how excited he is about the bench, which makes me think there's a problem with the bench, and he knows it. Right? So I think we're seeing that so far. I mean, we've historically been a really strong bench team, and we're getting progression out of one area. But some of these people, just because they've been in the league a couple of years, don't mean they're the answer for a productive bench.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some young guys that have come in and shown some promise. Give him the time now. Give him the seasoning now so that they could step in later in the season when it really matters and have developed some kind of ability to step up in those kind of situations. So
yeah,
this is something you've beaten the drum on multiple times, Eric. You know, apparently we're doing better with development, but we're still not great at it. This would be a great opportunity because we're not getting that bench production that we had last year.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, if we're really looking at what they have, the veterans that they have coming off the bench, they're not great players, and they've been like Payne is probably the most accomplished one that we have. And I mean, again, it's early, but so far, I'm like, I don't know if he's playing for his next contract or what he's trying to do, but
he's not getting that.
To me, he's just being really, really aggressive offensively, and I don't think he's that type player. Maybe I'm wrong.
I understand that it's needed because the bench scoring sucks right now.
That's possible too. That's possible too.
But I think when you look at Deuce McBride is what, and I'm joking about a little bit about campaign tongue in cheek, but Deuce McBride is the answer off the bench because he does come. He's instant offense now.
Yeah,
you can't have
it's legit.
And he plays defense on top of it. So we have two guys. So campaign can't come in and go, oh, now it's my turn. No, it was never your turn. Your turn is to sit there and watch dudes shoot threes and net the ball, and your job is to run an offense after that. That's what your job is. You're the the fault point guard.
The table center. Yeah.
Organize the damn floor when you get in, and know that the guy who is supposed to take all the shots is the guy with the fuzzy hair and is all the way out to here. That dude is lit. I mean, when you're shooting like 85% from the field at some point, you want to give that damn dude the ball and let him start scoring, as opposed to you coming in as a vet. You should know better by now. Let's just keep it where it is. You're a vet. You should know better by now what your role is on a team, and your role is clearly not to score because you're not damn good at it. You're not good at it right now. Whereas Kolick would be, think about this. You got a 4-year college player that would come in and he'd run that damn team better than Payne. Now that's a vet move because you're watching a guy who comes in and reads the floor. He reads the game and says, we don't need that right now. Are we not saying the same thing about Brunson? As a vet, we're saying you got to read the floor better as your team's best player. You're not reading the floor and the flow of the game of what is not working for you. Now you got to get other guys working. Campaign's coming in is like, oh, I was a 50-point scorer before I came here. What? Dude.
Yeah, that's been the one glaring thing that's been glaring to me is him. In a bad way. And again, I don't dislike him. I've never disliked him. I thought it was a good signing when they got him. But that was before we saw Kolick play in the preseason and how well he played in the preseason and how well he played in summer league. And he's just been consistent no matter where it's been. So I don't know why you drafted this guy. You gave him the largest contract for a second rounder ever, and you're letting him sit on the bench behind a journeyman 30-year-old point guard whose best days are behind him. I don't get it. And I'm hoping that eventually Tibbs sees the light, even though I say this all the time and he never does, but I'm hoping that he does. And I would never wish injury on a player, but if Cam wants to get a high ankle sprain and be out for like a while and we get minutes for Kolick that way, I would not be upset.
I wonder what the statute of rookie bench limitations is with Tibbs. Like, when does he? What game threshold are we talking about that he's going to think of playing this guy?
Yeah, I mean, and we saw it with McBride, and I have the banner up here, McBride growing up, because there was a clip of him talking to Huck Porty, telling him not to waste those minutes at the end of the game in a blowout or whatever, because that's where you earn your minutes, and that's how he earned his stripes and how he got to play. So, we've seen he was a guy the Knicks drafted. That he's evolved now. He's becoming a kind of a team leader, which is weird to see. But we're seeing all the things, and we know that the coach liked him. Like I remember the coach wanted to draft him. Thibodeau was like, he's like my type of right. So we've seen it before with McBride. When is it gonna? Why is it just him? Like I said, you're giving Kolek money as if he was a first round pick that you drafted. So why are you not playing him over a guy, like I said, who's just he is what he is. He's never going to be anything else.
Kolek seems like he could easily be a Tibbs player. I can picture Tibbs appreciating Kolek. Absolutely.
I mean, maybe his thing, him in defense. So maybe he's like, well, he's not where he needs to be defensively yet. But you don't get better by not playing. You only get better by playing.
And not every productive player in the NBA is a great defender. It's just,
right.
Yeah,
that's true.
Campaign's not a great defender. I don't know.
No, he's not. That's true.
I don't know what he does right now, other than he's jerking up shots.
I don't know. I think his head is distracting for the shooter. I don't know.
Yeah, he's. Yeah.
I don't know. I would. I'm a Kolek fan. Free Bateman. Let him roll, man.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And we've already talked about McBride, obviously. I mean, he's shooting 65% so far from the field, 61%, 62% from three. I mean, that's pretty impressive. I'm not going to sit here and lie. So, obviously, this probably will not last. I'd be surprised. Not 60%, but if he could settle in at around 45, and 40 from three, I think we'd all take that from him. So,
he might shoot an incredible number given the time frame in which he comes into the game and what he's asked to do. I think he's definitely going to be a 6-man of the year candidate. I've said that from the start. I'm going to keep going on that. The confidence level he shoots with is just. I mean, who had this on their bingo card? Like we say when we think about.
It was a question about him coming into the league. It was a question.
I never saw him being this player.
No,
not in a million years when he first came.
Not this kind of shooter. I never saw that.
No.
I knew he'd hustle. I knew the defense would be there. I expected that, but I never saw this kind of shooting from him.
No, but the shooting that we were seeing was not in rhythm shooting in very short spurts. Although, to tell you the truth, he's coming off and killing it right off the bench. I mean, he's hitting, threes right now, like 7 seconds into the game.
He hit a shot the other night with someone tall running at him. It was this hot, it was this like rainbow shot, and I'm like, oh my god! I'm like, yeah.
It was some nasty work. He was like, well, he crossed over Mobley last year and embarrassed him. He was like, well, let me just throw these heat rocks at you too. Well, and. He's just been an incredible thing for the Knicks. Eric compared him many moons ago to Derek Fisher. That might be the great.
That's a good comparison, man.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good comparison.
Yeah, he's definitely got that kind of a game, and you can see the maturity and growth. Also, he's becoming, like I said, he's becoming a leader of the team. And hey, I think he's the second longest tenured guy now after Mitch. So,
that's him and Mitch. Those are the two. I think.
Yeah, I know.
No, Sims was in that draft too.
Sims was in the McBride draft. Mitch was the year before, I think. So Mitch is the oldest tenured, but he'd be him and Sims are second. So I have no power forward here, and that's literally been what they've basically been playing with, in my opinion. Yeah. And I love Josh Hart. Don't get me wrong. I love Josh Hart. The way he rebounds for a guard is amazing. But Kenny Atkinson said he told the team at halftime to keep the Knicks off the offensive glass. And that's what happened in the second half. And that's why they lost the game. So in my opinion, the longer they're trying to get by with him, just with Hart being that guy, the guy who's supposed to get rebounds. But I saw OG trying. I don't know whatever effort he brings on defense, he does not bring on getting rebounds.
No.
I don't see that there at all. I don't know what they can do until Precious comes back, and obviously until Mitch comes back, and then they have to decide what they're doing with Towns. But it's a really, really tough spot for them right now at that position. And I don't know where to go with it. It's the one thing we all are kind of like, that's going to be the place where we're not sure what we're going to see. And that's played out, at least in the 3 games so far. That has been something that's evident to me, that they just don't have enough size right now, and you're
Not
seeing
right
it.
Now.
Yeah.
Not right now, but the potential is there in the long term. I think I've been banging the drum, as well as John, for Precious to be in the starting lineup in this time period. I believe I always like the versions of the Knicks going big. Maybe that's just a throwback from the 90s, but I think a rotation of Cat, Precious, and Mitch eventually, we could start bringing some of those elements of the offensive rebounding and the dominating of the boards like we did in that one Cleveland series. I could see us getting back to that, and with the other elements that this team has really being completely scary. But again, we don't have that right now.
Well,
Yeah.
Can I add one thing into this?
Go.
Probably if you actually posted Cat and he had to draw a double team, maybe you get easier baskets. And then you could also rebound from the weak side. Oh, imagine that. You need a damn post player. The reason why the Knicks need an offensive rebound is because they shoot too many damn shots from the perimeter. Yeah. You don't got to worry about caroms when you're hitting 60%. What I did the math before, 60 is better than 40 when it comes to actually getting the damn ball in the hoop. So if you play from an inside-out game, now your percentages will load up on the wings, on the corners, or whatever you want to say for those 3-point shots. The problem is when you got a guy like Brunson, and the one thing we'll limit is that he's miniature. We know that. So we need him when if that floater's not hitting, then he's just a dead spot when he lands because he's not getting the rebound. He's not going to get it. So now you're lessening your chance of getting an efficient rebound, so to say, because you're not drawing in any action. When they collapse in the lane, if 3 guys are collapsing in the lane on the defense because they know that he might fall short, everybody's out of place. Nobody's going to rebound. You're playing into the other team's defense. You need to have some more spacing going on where a guy like Josh Hart could zoom in and get the damn rebound after once in a while. But that's what they're missing, is that they are not playing inside out also. You're depending too much on the perimeter shot.
Yeah, but that's the funny thing is they're the team that's taken the least amount of threes per game in the league. They're only taking about 28 per game, which is the lowest in the league. It's literally dead last. So I think they're taking a lot of more mid-range shots, like mid-range to deep, but not threes, like in that range there. And I just think in today's NBA, you can't do that. You have to take
analytics hates the mid-range jump shot.
Yeah. So I don't care. Like I've said this many times, I don't care how you score. Just outscore the other team. I don't care. 3s, 2s, free throws, whatever you got to do. Outscore the other team. I'm not one of these people like, oh, well, you have to shoot a ton of 3s. Yeah, it's nice if you could do that. Congratulations. But if you have a team of non-shooters, why are you going to keep shooting 3s, right? Like the Knicks have shooters. I'm not saying they don't, but why would you do that? Just score more points than the other team. But the NBA nowadays is a 3-point shooting league. That's just what it is. Yeah. So they have to get those shot attempts up. But as to your point, Ty, if you, like you said, if you dump it down to Towns, he can draw doubles, pass it out, get open 3s instead of contested 3s, things like that work the offense. But this team, as we know, has been built on the ability to crash the offensive glass. Mitch is a huge offensive rebounder. Precious is a good offensive rebounder. They have a bunch of guys who are good at that one thing, and they depend on them to do it. And right now, we just don't have the guys to do it. So,
but if you could combine great outside shooting with solid offensive rebounding, you're really on to something.
Yeah, I agree with you. They definitely need to get more 3s up. I'm not saying they don't. They definitely need to take. I don't want them to force them.
No,
I'm not on that plan, but I definitely think that they need to look for them more. I mean, it's very weird saying that with guys like Bridges and OG on the team, who that's what they do, or they've done.
Well, you talking about like as far as shooting 3s, or you're talking
about like they've both were drafted as 3-and-D guys. Like that's what they came into the league as, and the Knicks are not shooting a lot of 3s, and you have those 2 guys. So
what is happening though? What we just talked about? We have OG. Yeah. We have OG creating his offense.
Yeah.
We have Bridges creating his offense. when they're supposed to be a product of the offense. This supposed to be a product of your best 2 players, and not be featured players. The thing that has happened when you watch the offense of the Knicks is like, my turn, your turn, here, take the ball, your turn again. And it's like, choose a guy and let him work, where it's not supposed to work that way. Those guys, in an ideal system, you have the point guard and you have the big man. Pick and roll, or either dump down, draw the double, kick the ball out to your wings, who are spot-up shooters, and that's when the percentages go up, and people are crazy having to guard that. But if you say, here, Towns, go on and dribble ISO. All right, now, Bridges, you go ISO. OG, you come out the corner. I want you to do your 2 little dribbles with your shoulders hunched up like this, and I want you to do your little whatever, because we know that's where you said he can't get rebounds. His neck is like this the whole game. He's like, it's all shown. He doesn't have you. His build is not. He looks like what like he's running from one of the Scooby-Doo characters. Like he's running from the Mystery Machine because he's all bottled up. He's like a mummy. That dude can't rebound. He's got alligator arms too. Let's keep it a buck. He's not a power forward.
No,
This has him as a power forward. He should be a small forward. If anything, Bridges should be the 2. And then if you want to really solve it real quick, in my opinion, you keep Cat at the 5, you bring in Porty, and you start him at the 4. He's a rugged rebounder. The dude, what is he going to do? He's going to do everything you ask him to do. You tell him to go rebound, he's going to rebound. You tell him to go help out and block shots, he could be Precious. He could be the Precious at a taller version. You put that big front court together. Just have Cat at the 5 and say, Huck, come in and just do all the dirty work. He's going to do every bit of it. But Thibodeau's not going to do that because he doesn't want to admit he's going to keep OG because he's been fascinated with playing OG at the 4 or the 5. And OG's a terrible rebounder. Let's keep it buck. 5 rebounds a game? No. You need him on the perimeter, focusing on the perimeter defense, and that's all he needs to do. That's his specialty. But the power forward position is not his position. He needs to have Porty come in now that you know Precious is out. Until Precious get back, you got to put some rugged dude next. What we saw with Ewing all those years, what happened? Oakley was playing next to him. That was your enforcer. The Knicks need an enforcer right now, and that's what they're missing. Josh Hart is an enforcer, but it can't be at the expense of him starting and playing that way. You need a guy that's that's going to bang on the boards and be that rugged rough rider at the 4. Precious plays a great job of it because he comes in, he knows his role. His role is going to be that right. I'm coming in to rebound and do all the nasty work.
He's a textbook 4.
Yeah, textbook 4. And Porty. Imagine your 4 is 7 foot tall and mobile. Porty's not like
he moves. No, he's not. He moves.
Yes. He's very mobile. Put him in the game and see what he can do. I don't think he should be the backup 5 as he's being used now. Like, bring him in as a backup 5. You could put Sims in at the 5. Let him be
offensive. And you definitely can like mix and match him and Towns defensively and offensive, like at those 2 positions. I think that would work. It's just, I mean, again, it's very early. We're talking about all these things, and it's 3 games in. But and I'm not nervous. It's not nerves, but the thing, right? We know the coach. That's the thing. Like in our heads, we're all saying this because we know what the coach is like. So we're
not panicking is different than having things to talk about. There are always things to talk about.
Yes.
But to tell you the truth, honestly, I'm kind of intrigued with the possibility of Bridges getting the ball on the post.
He can play.
Tall, lanky, that release point for the turnaround. I think that might be something worth exploring. But
I have less of an issue with taking shots because he was a featured player in Brooklyn and he did prove he can score points there. So he has an offensive game outside of just shooting threes. I have no problem with him being the 3rd scorer. Like he's averaging more points than Towns right now, and that should not be.
I'm not surprised by that.
So you should be.
I'm not surprised with this coach that he's
yeah.
It works right too. You should be because he shouldn't be the one. But
right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna the things are evolving again. I'm sure by 20 games, 25 games in, we'll look back and we'll start seeing things and we'll see the trends and how things are going. I hope they get this win tonight, by the way. You know, again, like Joe said, we've been playing all of our our 90s rivals, and Boston are every decade rival, but we're playing the Pacers and right?
Miami.
Yep, Miami, then our 90s rivals, so we're getting them out of the way early. But I'm really, really, really wanting them to win tonight. This is a game I want to get. So I don't know if they're going to. Again, I haven't seen much of Miami this year. I know Jimmy Butler's not scoring well right now, or not shooting well, or whatever. I think I saw that somewhere. But it would be nice to get this one.
He'll try to score tonight. You know, Miami gets up for New York. New York gets up for Miami. It's just what it is. You know,
get under the lights.
Yeah. You know, hopefully they didn't go to South Beach too early. That's the one thing you got to worry about. Yeah, I don't know. It should be good. It should be a good game. The Knicks probably can pull this out, but you know, it always comes down to two people: Thibodeau and Spoelstra. That's what these games have always come down to. Who makes the adjustments? Spoelstra's just been the better coach, even with lesser talent, in my opinion. And we could see the same thing tonight: lesser talent, but a better coach.
That's why we got to hope our talent's better, because that matchup is like rock bashing scissors all day long.
Yeah, so they won't have. Well, I think Kevin Love is out for them, and Josh Richardson. Yeah, so they don't. But most of their guys are healthy, so yeah, they should be. They're fully healthy, more healthy than we are, obviously.
I was thinking the other night when we watched Cleveland. I said, "Damn, Cleveland probably has a better coach." I just hate to say it, Kenny can coach.
You know my opinion on that one. Yeah, I wanted Kenny to be the Knicks coach, so you know my opinion
all
there.
over that. I remember.
Yeah, I was a big proponent of bringing him here when the Nets inexplicably got rid of him. Still the dumbest move they made. I still can't believe. Well, whatever. We know that
run franchise.
We know that players run the asylum. Even not here, but trust me, if Brunson started to say, "Yeah, I don't like this guy as coach," he wouldn't be coached too long. That's all I'm gonna say. He would not be coached too long if he started saying something like that.
Yeah.
So it is a players' league. That's what it is.
No, and Thibodeau's here because Brunson endorsed him. That's why we said, well, he's not going anywhere, because they talk glowingly about him. So where's he gonna go?
All right. Well, we're gonna leave you guys now. There's 2 minutes till 7:30 till tip off, and then for me and all the Yankee fans out there, 8 o'clock. We wanted to get this done for you guys.
Good luck tonight, guys.
Thank you. So you guys could watch whatever game you're watching. The Knicks, the Yankees, both. If you have picture-in-picture, that's what this is for. So use the picture-in-picture and just bounce back and forth where you need to. Watch both games. I'm an Islanders fan as well. They're playing as well. So if you're a hockey fan and an Islanders fan, you can watch that game too. That game started already.
They got to remember, when they throw the ball, to hit it with the piece of wood and not catch it.
Yes, but but after they hit it with the piece of wood, they have to catch it.
How could hitting it with the piece of wood ever be a bad thing? I don't get that.
Yeah.
This is a family show, but I will leave that one alone.
Pause button. Pause. What's Demon Dash reading? Pause.
All right, guys. I want to thank everyone who watched us tonight. We appreciate the love and support always. We will be back next week, 7 o'clock, probably our usual time, depending on if there's a game or not. Maybe early again, but if not, 7 o'clock, we'll be back Eastern time to bring all of our craziness to you and hopefully have some interaction with you guys as well. So for Ty and Joe, I'm Eric. You're watching All Knicked Up. We'll see you next week. Go Yankees!
Yes, sir.